So as part of my PhD thesis, my research, I compiled a corpus, or like a language database, based on two groups of English students that I was teaching at Limerick College of Further Education. The two groups I had was the A1, A2 cohort and the C1 cohort, so a pre-intermediate group and a more upper intermediate or advanced group. And basically I wanted to analyse their language to see what grammatical features they were using, what lexical features they were using. I had four main data analysis sections, which were phrasal verbs, collocations, idioms and dialexical verbs. And the aim was to see if both cohorts were using these and if they were using them correctly. I discovered that out of the 29 students in the overall research, that in fact the A2 cohort were using these features more than the actual C1 cohort. So there were like 12 students in the A2 cohort, and the rest would have been in the more advanced cohort. So when we analysed it mathematically, we discovered that in fact the lower cohort were using these features. And it's really interesting because these features, according to the published literature, should only be used by an advanced group. So we discovered that the pre-intermediate, more kind of beginner group, they were actually using these features. Major piece of advice for me, I always say, is get to know your students from the outset. So from the first class, get to know their motivations, their reasons for being in your classroom, their expectations, what they hope to get at the end, and always get their level as soon as possible. That's why I always recommend the Common European Framework of Reference. It even has like a checklist that teachers use, and just basically interview the student for 5 minutes, check each box, and it tells you what level they're at. So that's really, really important. Drilling, to drill, constant repetition in the classroom, constant practice, keep revising the new vocabulary that you've taught them and the new grammatical structures. And again, modelling, make sure that you're modelling the language itself correctly. And it always goes back to drilling. That repetition is one of the only ways that they'll be able to get the structure of a sentence. So it's a really important part. Encouragement, always encourage them. And of course, always mark improvements, show them their improvements, and make sure they know themselves where their errors lie. So tell them what errors that they are making. I always say don't interrupt them when they're speaking to correct them. Let them speak and just give them feedback then at the end.